Hello everybody and welcome to the first video of Insane Galvatron Improved Toys. I don't know. First episode, haven't really got a name down, didn't think about it, hit record, and then realized I didn't have a name, so just started recording. Let's call it Galvatron's Insanity. So today we're looking at Titans Returns Blaster. I'm really digging this toy. His G1 look in robot mode, he transforms into a cassette player, which, you know, very reminiscent of the G1 with the exception that they have these weird speakers here that unfold instead of having these on the front. But I guess they had to kind of update the design a little bit because, you know, you don't really see stereos with those kind of speakers on the front anymore. It's these big, fancy looking, huge things that put out a lot of bass. So to appeal to the younger generation, they have to kind of do that. But he's very G1. I mean, this is what I've wanted from Chug since it came out in 2006. My only disappointment with the original classics was that the toys were not G1 enough. They updated the designs too much. I wanted G1 toys with articulation. That's pretty much what Blaster is here, with one fatal flaw. He has a Headmaster gimmick, which, you know, for the most part, I mean, like Power Master Primes, you can easily ignore it, just never take the head out. Everything folds away during transformation. It's not a big deal. I don't like my guys who weren't Headmasters to be Headmasters, so I was looking at Blaster here, and I was trying to figure out, you know, okay, maybe I can do him like Prime. Just ignore the Headmaster gimmick and just fold the head away. Here's the problem. When you normally will fold the head away for transformation, without the Headmaster in there, it'll usually collapse up a little further. See, I'll pull him out. See, it'll go up in there further, and then it can close. But with the Headmaster still in there, not so much. Now you get as far as you can go, still won't go up all the way. So I've decided I'm going to do a real simple modification to make this guy work, so that will fold away better, and your Blaster can no longer be a Headmaster as well. Now, you can do this with the head he comes with. We'll set him aside for a moment. He comes with the, I actually don't remember, I think they call him Twin Cast. I actually didn't care because, again, Blaster was never Headmaster to me, so I never took the time to learn the name. But I do have, I mean, I'm digging these Titan Master guys here. I've got all kinds. I mean, I've got the whole first two waves. And even though I'm going to de-Headmasterize Blaster, I kind of like the idea of having another Titan Master for my collection. So while you can do what I'm going to do to just this guy, I'm actually going to body swap. Because the face, if you look, I'm not sure how well this is picking up. My lighting's not the best in this room. Blaster's face is much wider, just in the actual face area, than your other Titan Masters. So, like, say, if I just stick this guy in Blaster as he sits, I mean, his head is mostly helmet. So it'll cover it up. He still looks mostly the same, but if you look at his face, if you look in there at his face, it's really tiny compared to the helmet. And that's because the Headmaster, they gave him a larger face. So it helps fill out the helmet better. So you really kind of want to, even though you don't really see much of it, the part you do see needs to be larger. So this way I'll still have a little miniature Blaster Titan Master in my collection to add one more to the 8 that I have, while also removing it. So I bought an extra loudmouth just for this mod. So first thing we're going to do is take a little screwdriver. Now, I haven't done this as I'm doing this on the fly. That screwdriver's too big. I'm going to get a slightly smaller one. I have not done this yet, so I'm assuming since the screws are all in the same place, the faces are mostly interchangeable. There may be some molding or detailing on the back that won't allow them to be switched around. We're about to find out. So you take the screw out of both of them. Now again, if you were just going to make your Blaster de-Headmasterized, you wouldn't have to do all this part. So let's put the siren face, the loudmouth face. Oh, yeah, it will not fit. Not without modifications, and I just dropped the head under the camera. Okay, so to fix Blaster, I mean, he can be Blaster as he is, but in order to put or Twin Cast, whatever they call him, in order to put this on, I'm going to have to do some modifications. This peg will not fit in this hole, so there is a slight Oh, wait, hold on. Wait, never mind. It just took a little more finagling, but I got it. All right, so let's stick the screw back in. Okay, so maybe they are all the same. I didn't want to go at first, so I thought they weren't. All right, screws back in. Okay, so now I've got this guy for my Headmaster collection. He just happens to have this face. Maybe I'll paint that just to make it different so it's not just loudmouth in head mode. But, okay, so there's that guy. Now, instead of just going straight and putting the head on, because the problem in head mode for not stowing away was that the Titan Master's head was sticking up. So we're just going to pop that. See, it just pretty much fell right out. Set that aside. All right, let's go ahead and put the blaster head on this guy, or the blaster face. Sorry, the screw's kind of fighting with me here. You can see this is a real simple modification. It's only taking a couple of minutes here. Okay. A couple more twists of the screw. Oops, sorry, shook my camera. Okay. So there we have a headless blaster headmaster. And part of the reason I chose loudmouth was because his body colors are red and gray of all the available ones in the first two waves. I figure his red and gray would go better with blaster since he's got red and gray. Alright, so let's shove this head up in here. Fold it all over. There we go. You have blaster's head. Looks perfectly fine. And you can still open the helmet to see his little face. But, I mean, there's not really much holding it in at this point without the headmaster head. So it doesn't really peg in. But it stays in there because of the way that assembly is. So you can see if I open that up. As you can see, everything stays inside the helmet nice and tight. Alright, so now when we want to transform it, fold that back. Just fold down the head. And voila. It doesn't go all the way up. It's not perfect. But it's better than it was because the little head's no longer in the way. And let's see, maybe I can finagle that. Feels like it might go in a little further. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, that looks better because at the very least, even though there's still a gap there, you don't have a little tiny robot head looking out at you. So I'm not going to transform him all the way, but for boombox mode, I mean, because you've already got this big piece sticking out in the back, so now that this sticks out a little too, it's not, that out of place aesthetically. And it's not like there's a big gaping hole in the top because you got all this stuff filling it in, plus your handles up here. So, I mean, I think that works better because now you don't have, like I said, a little head staring out there at you. So now you can transform blaster without removing the head. And still have the little twin cast / miniature blaster Titan Master to mess with. And, you got this little head left over. Not sure what I'm going to do with that. It'll go in the junk bin, parts bin. I'll do something with it. But, so there we go. Blaster as no longer a headmaster. Everything still works. So anyway, if you like the video, subscribe. Like the channel. I'm not sure. This is probably going to end up on the TFYLP channel. Maybe, maybe not. If they don't want to put it up, I'll put it up on my channel. I'm not sure where this is going just yet as I'm filming it. But there you go. So you now have Headmasterless Blaster. Thanks for watching. Hey everybody, a quick edit here. Figured something out on the blaster. Since I want to de-headmasterize him anyway. If I can figure out how to edit video, this should flow seamlessly from the previous video and not be a part 2. But the whole idea was by removing the head of this little guy, it would fold up further than it would just as it was. I figured out what to do to make it go all the way. Now here's the problem. With the headmaster, we're still with the legs on. He sits in there nice and securely on that back plate. The helmet goes in over top of him. Everything seems, it seems like a good, viable alternative. But like I said, it won't collapse up enough. You get the head out of the way so the door closes a little further, but it won't close all the way. Here's what I discovered. If you take this guy You pop the legs off. I mean, it's real simple, especially on loudmouth. Your mileage may vary on other ones. Some have pins in the hips. You can't do that. And honestly, if you're going to go this far, yeah, see, the blasters, the Headmaster he came with originally had a pin, so you couldn't just do that with him. But then again, with what I'm about to suggest, you could probably just use just the faceplate. Like, you don't even need the other Titan Master. Just take your one that Blaster came with, just take the face off. But I'm going to do it with the whole body. Just makes it a little chunkier. Now, this is going to be the final mod, because for this suggestion, if you're wanting to de-Headmasterize your toy anyway, you got to glue that in there like that. Because, see, normally you got the legs right here that'll pin against this, so when he's in head mode, that'll stay in place. Obviously, if I do this, see, there's no legs in there. So, see, it just kind of flops around. Okay, so if you glue that up against the front of the mask. Oops, I just dropped it. Sorry about that. So if you glue this to the front of the mask, it's not going to go anywhere. And what that will allow is when you fold him into head mode, or for cassette mode, the lack of legs lets that fold up far enough that you can close it. So if you're willing to use a little glue, you don't have to do any cutting to the toy. I know usually I like to do modifications that don't require altering the original toy, or altering as little as possible. That's why I designed the piece on Shapeways for the Night Beat adapter, so that you can do it without having to cut the toy up and glue a piece in. So if you don't mind that door not closing all the way, just removing the Headmaster's head will let it close more. Your original toy is still for the most part intact, as long as you don't lose that little head. Now granted, I can just keep this squished back, holds the face in place for robot mode, but its head's kind of back a little further, and it swivels in a weird spot because it moves the swivel up in front of the chin. But I mean, that keeps the face in place if you want to do it that way without gluing. If you don't mind the way that changes his stance, which I guess it lines his head up more with his shoulders, which is the normal, like a profile of a human. I mean, your head's in line with your shoulder, it's not forward. So yeah, of course that just makes his head bigger, so I guess it's still kind of lined up. It's a little bit forward. So yeah, you can just squish that back if you want to do it this way, if you don't want to glue it, and you don't mind the kind of weird angle at which he turns his head. Or glue. I'm going to glue it, just not for the video, because I just discovered this while I was sitting there messing with it after I just recorded the other video. So I'm going to end up gluing it so you can keep the right head proportion. Although there will be a hollow spot there where the legs would normally be, so maybe I'll leave him like this. I don't know, but that allows the head to fold up in all the way. So yeah, he's just I'm not sure how you're supposed to get this open. There we go. When the head's in there, but so yeah, if you don't mind the slightly less thick head and the weird joint, there's still no mod, no glue, no cutting way to fix it. It's just a matter of personal preference and taste. Because I'm probably going to glue it, but I think it looks fine like that, and that solves that problem. It'll shut the door, and he's no longer a Headmaster. So there you go. So that solves the problem completely. You have no longer a Headmaster Blaster, but now in order to do this, you've got to buy a loudmouth. Because like I said, the original Blaster, I guess it doesn't have any loudmouth, so any Titan Master will work, but the original one, he's got the pins, the metal pin in the hips, so you're not going to be able to just pop the legs off. Unless you want to just cut them. Depends on how so, or you can just, if you're going to glue it, you can just use the face. But like I said, if you don't want to mod your toy permanently, this is a good alternative. Just remove the head and the legs off of a Headmaster, put the face on there, and you're good to go. Just quick and easy. Head stows away for transformation. Boom, no longer a Headmaster.